What's up, guys? Tom and Hank, hello. Sam Cardona here. Guys may remember me. Haven't been able to do a pre-recorded segment for Big Blue Avenue in a little while, but when the tea is hot, everybody, the tea cannot wait. So we have our first turnover tea in quite some time. Very excited about it. And I'm sure many of you guys know what's going on here. So the main thing is the Joe Judge rant, right? 11 minutes of just him rambling about who knows what. Honestly, it's been it was a lot. After the embarrassing loss to the Bears, I mean, embarrassing. This is just not a good look for the New York Giants whatsoever. I'm sorry to say, but Joe Judge said a lot in this post game, and we'll go over a couple things. We'll go over some players' tweets in this tea because it's pretty hot. There's a lot of things going on. So we'll start with Joe Judge rambling on for 11 minutes. First things first, took aim at Washington for that fight that happened on the sidelines last week. He said, this ain't a team that's having fistfights on the sidelines. This isn't some clown show organization or something else, okay? Obviously, like, shooting shots left and right. Like, he was, like, unfiltered, didn't care what was going on there. And then the other thing, which I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm a little skeptical of things that are going on with the fact that Joe Judge said that there are current players who are begging him to stay and players who have left the organization saying that they were wanting, like, they would have rather stayed and made less money with the New York Giants and play for Joe Judge than be where they are now. Which, again, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I just feel like it gives off the vibes that it might be a little bit of a stretch of the truth, which we all do. We all do that. It's fine. But in terms of players that are, like, begging him to stay, I don't know who would be begging him to stay. Again, maybe they're hoping things are different when Gettleman leaves, and that if Joe just stays, it'll be a completely different team. Like, we're still figuring that part out. But in terms of people who have left, the only player that I feel like left is making more money would be Dalvin Tomlinson with the Vikings. And, like, do you really think Dalvin picked up the phone and was like, hey, coach, I know I'm making a lot more money with the Vikings. And, like, we didn't make the playoffs or anything, but, like, we did a fairly solid job this year. But, like, I kind of wish that I was making less money and playing for you. Millions of dollars? You'd rather play for Joe Judge? I don't know. That just, the entire thing, again, maybe something of the effect like that happened, but I don't know. It gives me weird vibes. But Joe Judge has had a lot to say. And while I know the reports have come out saying that Daniel Jones and Joe Judge are both, like, A-okay, fine coming back next year, I feel like there's still the possibility that Joe Judge's job is still not completely secure, which is interesting. So we'll see what happens in this offseason. Someone who definitely will not be coming back, and if he does, I know me, Tom, and Hank may or may not, like, have to have an emergency meeting, but Dave Gettleman is most likely leaving, and that's the other side of the tea here, and that's the tweets. One of the two, well, technically two of these tweets, Tom sent to our group chat to decipher, which was in and of itself crazy. But I'll start with this one first, from Scott Simonson, who had very, very strong emotions towards Dave Gettleman. So I'll just read you guys off the tweet. Dave Gettleman is an atrocious GM and not a good person, in my opinion. The fact that he's had this much time to not be good at his job while deciding others' fates and indebting one of the most historically respected franchises is embarrassing, and also a strong example of karma existing. with a big old thumbs down. So that is a lot. Like, to come out and criticize somebody's job is one thing. We do it all the time, right? We're like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy's here. This guy's that. We don't know. But to come out and say someone's not a good person is a huge swing in a different direction. Like, that is a totally different thing there. Shane Smith put out a tweet, and this comes from the 2 tweets that Tom sent us in here. So Shane Smith said, let me clarify, not speaking poorly on DG as a person. I loved my time with New York. But there's obviously something wrong if they've had multiple coaches and great players go there and no one can have success, which is a very valid point. Yeah, maybe Daniel, why do I keep wanting to say Daniel Jones? Dave Gettleman is not the best GM, but perfectly fine person doing his best, whatever. Elijah Penny decided to quote that tweet, and he said, "This is lame. Be honest, bruh. You gave up 2 sacks against the Cowboys. GM ain't got nothing to do with what you put on tape. Again, this is whack." First of all, you guys are all grown adult men. Why are we having Twitter fights? Like, I feel like if you guys want to have this conversation, have the conversation, call a meeting, bring in older players, see what's going on, players who have played for Dave Gettleman. By the way, I didn't mention that Scott Simonson played for the Giants and the Panthers with Dave Gettleman, so different organizations there, and he said those things, bad things about Gettleman there. So there's just a lot of things going on. I really don't think we should be having these conversations over Twitter. I think that things could be better. But Gettleman most likely gone. Judge, who in the world knows? Daniel Jones, I have a feeling, will be staying next year. I don't think that we're going to be drafting a quarterback, picking up a quarterback, depending on whatever goes on with Russell Wilson and whatever else is happening in this mix. But yeah, the tea in the New York Giants is very hot, and it's mostly because we are just a hot dumpster fire. That's what's heating up the tea, is the flame coming out of the dumpster that we live in, basically. So Tom and Hank, thank you guys for letting me rant and record another segment for you guys to send out into the world. Hope you guys enjoyed this turnover tea, and let's go Big Blue. Let's try and end off on a good note. Like, I know it's Jake Fromm coming into the mix here for our last game of the season, but let's try and go out on top. Give me a little bit of hope. Make me actually want to watch the games, right? All right, guys. Bye.